Hi there, my name is Alex Wong. I'm the Director of Marketing here at SmartSimple. Really happy to be with you here today, and we're really excited to be sharing with you our Alexa integration with SmartSimple. This is a development we've had over the last couple of months or so, and you may have heard us talk about the integration at our block parties and our Elevate events, but we never really put a lot of focus towards it and really demonstrating it to attendees at that time. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to have this webinar to show you guys sort of the ins and outs of how the integration works and what are the capabilities of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a demo of the technology itself, and to help me do that I actually need a co-presenter because I'm not a technical person myself, and I wouldn't be doing this integration justice if I were to just run this webinar alone. So Alexa, ask SmartSimple, please tell me presenter.
Hi Alex, your co-presenter today will be Eric Lauer, the Director of Customer Experience at SmartSimple.
Excellent. Okay, Eric.
Hey Alex, good morning. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for inviting
Awesome.
me to the presentation.
Yep, great. It wasn't me, it was Alexa actually.
Oh.
But in any case. But before we get started, so Eric's going to take you through the demo itself and demo some of the queries and utterances that we've actually put into the integration. But before we do that, I did want to get into just some overview information about Alexa, why we chose Alexa, what is Alexa, what is voice technology, and why we decided to pursue voice technology as a developmental area for us. So why don't we start off with what is Alexa? So Alexa is a voice-activated intelligent personal assistant developed by Amazon, first used in the Amazon Echo and the Amazon Echo Dot. You'll probably have heard of some of the other popular intelligent personal assistants like Cortana by Microsoft, Siri, of course, with Apple, Google Assistant by Google, and of course, Amazon Echo itself. An intelligent personal assistant is a software agent that can perform tasks or services for an individual. So think about your everyday. You're getting ready for your day and you're asked, you may need to know what the weather is like, or you may want to order a cab through Alexa. Alternatively, if you run out of paper towel and you need to ask Amazon to purchase some more for you, or if you are working on that next great home project that you need some advice on, or you might just be asking for a daily news brief of what's going on in the world today, or if you're playing music from your favorite playlist. Alexa has all that capability for you. Now, why are we exploring this technology specifically? Well, we see voice AI redefining the way we live, play, and work. Over the last few months alone, we've seen an explosion of people embracing the technology. As voice recognition becomes more commonplace in society and different ways of interacting with technology becomes more varied, we want to ensure we stay at the leading edge of these new ideas and continue to innovate and push our platform to extremes. We're always looking to drive innovation, and we're always looking to lead. We're also nerds at heart, so to be honest with you, voice technology sounds like a pretty awesome thing to us. But beyond that, I think what really inspires us about voice intelligence technology is that it makes technology more accessible than ever. So it doesn't matter if you're a 75-year-old grandma that's never touched a smartphone, or someone that's challenged with visual impairment, voice can be a solution for you both. Now, why did we pick Alexa specifically? Well, Amazon's been a great partner of SmartSimple's for a long time now, and over the years we've earned a lot of distinctions from working with them. But more importantly, Amazon's really taken a dominant position in the market. It's really driven voice technology. So you can see in the pie chart, the Amazon Echo really has cornered the market in terms of market share over second place Google Home. So how does SmartSimple's Alexa integration actually work? Well, SmartSimple's Alexa skill enables users to set up commands or utterances, as they call it, to report on any piece of data pulled from any report in your own copy of SmartSimple. What makes our integration unique is that you can actually customize your own utterances for your own unique needs. As long as the data you're looking for is in your SmartSimple system, you can program an utterance to have Alexa report on it. So imagine this scenario. You're about to walk into a board meeting, but you realize that you're missing a key stat that you want to share with the board. Your staff have already left and you've no time to get back to your office, get on your laptop and actually pull that number. So what can you do? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring Eric into the conversation because he's actually going to do demo some of the utterances that we've actually pre-programmed into Alexa itself, and he'll be able to demo in this situation what can you actually do.
Yeah, so we, in preparation for the webinar today, I just programmed a couple of questions I wanted to ask. And I guess I'm taking on the persona of a grant staff, and I got a couple of reviews this week, as well as a few site visits. So I'm going to use the Alexa device to present these questions and see what comes back. So I'll say, Alexa, ask SmartSimple, please tell me current reviews.
You have been scheduled for 5 reviews.
Excellent. Alexa, ask SmartSimple, please tell me site visits.
You have been scheduled for 3 site visits.
Excellent. So what we did there is we used the Amazon technology to interact with SmartSimple to get data and information back from the system. So the way it works, I guess, just to kind of break down how the conversation with Alexa happens is I first say Alexa, which is the trigger word for the device to kind of, they call it a wake word. And that tells the Echo to start listening. So it says, oh, this is, I gotta start listening to what's going on around me. And then I said, ask SmartSimple. And when I say ask SmartSimple, it actually tells the Amazon Echo to go to our skill set that we've built and to use the things that we put in there to interact with the SmartSimple platform and get the data. And then I just asked it a question. So I said, please tell me my current reviews and my site visits. So what I said at the end there with current reviews and site visits is what we refer to as a key name. So those are the trigger words that Alexa uses to then turn around in the system and say, well, I'm going to respond with a particular answer. And that could be, like you saw here, numbers from a report. It could just be text that I want to type in and then have it sent back to me. Really, the sky's the limit. I mean, anything you can do with SmartSimple, any of the data in there can be accessed through these templates and called through the key names to then get the data back out.
Cool. And I think the way we've sort of built things out so far is that just to get our clients going, we have some pre-programmed utterances already, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Alex. So what we've done is we've taken a lot of the heavy lifting out for you, and we've pre-built our Alexa skill set with some common questions and terminology that is found in the verticals that we serve. So, for example, I can use terms like grants or reviews or declined or things like that, statuses, terms, cases, referrals. So these are all things that we commonly see in SmartSimple, and I can refer to them and use certain common names in terms of time and duration. So I can say things like yesterday, last month, next year, and the Alexa device will interpret those and put the appropriate dates into the system for us without me having to say, oh, run the report from Jan 1 through to Jan 50.
Yeah. So I mean,
although I could if I wanted to.
Sure.
Very specific.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pre-programmed stuff is really neat because it's great to get a client up and running really quickly.
Yeah.
But I think, and I think you might agree with me here, Eric, is that one of the unique things about our integration with Alexa is, and I don't know if anybody else is doing this, is the ability to add your own utterances beyond just the ones we've pre-programmed into Alexa.
Yeah, and I think that would be. I'm going to say that's a sort of I think definitely in the grant space is an industry first, and most of the skill sets that you use, even in the home, it's the pre-programmed questions that you can answer, and that's it. But through SmartSimple and the way we've integrated our Alexa is you actually get to choose the responses and the questions that you want to ask.
And I guess what that enables you to do is actually pull any piece of data out of the system that you've got in there, right? Yeah. So depending on how you program the utterance itself. Yeah. I mean, I find this really, really useful. Every department in SmartSimple internally actually has an Alexa device themselves, and just speaking from our department, the marketing department, we actually have a specific use case for us for helping us manage our campaigns, manage our programs and things like that, which of course is much different from, say, what one of our grants clients would have, right? But either way, we're still able to use the functionality because we can customize the utterances based off of the information that we need that's built into the system already, or that is in the system already, I should say. So, I mean, just for example, I ask Alexa all the time, how many webinar registrants do we have for for this webinar, for example, or how many attendees have registered for our upcoming block party or Elevate event, how many leads did we receive over the last month. And actually, that brings me to an interesting story. Every month, the management team has these update meetings where everyone has an opportunity to share whatever updates, the latest things that they're working on the team. But beyond those monthly management meetings, oftentimes Mike, our COO, will come to me and ask me, off the cuff, how many leads did we receive last week? And I don't always necessarily have that information on me on hand. I don't ever feel like I'm on the back heel because I've got Alexa with me, and I can always just ask Alexa. When Mike comes by, I can just ask Alexa, Alexa, how many leads have come in last week? And it'll tell me specifically how many leads, and it can break down by where the lead channels came from and all that great stuff. So it's a very valuable device for at least our department.
Yeah, you're right, and I think just that very nature of being able to talk to the device and ask these questions that you would, even if I was turning over and asking a coworker, hey, do you have the numbers from the last, financial reports that we ran? At least it's just like interacting with another coworker. I don't have to, gotta, hop back onto the laptop and start writing queries and saying, I gotta find this thing or whatever. It's just right there at your fingertips, and just a matter of talking to the device, you can get these answers that you want in the blink of an eye.
I think one of the other really neat things about this integration is that it's just so easy and simple to take advantage of. Yeah. I was playing around with Alexa the other day and putting in my own utterances, and I'm not a technical person by any nature, but I was really surprised at how easy and how quick it was to actually program our own utterances in there, and you can see the results almost immediately, because it almost happens in real time. As soon as you put the utterance in, Alexa will be able to answer that question based on the query that you've built. Yep. So actually, you know what? I think I have an interesting idea that I'd like to try on the spot here.
Okay.
What I'd like to try is, why don't we program an utterance on the spot so that we can show everybody just how easy and quick it is to actually put in an utterance and then get it working through Alexa.
Sure. Yeah,
cool.
We do that every day.
Yeah,
so
cool. So this is what I'm going to ask everyone to do. So the folks that are on the line right now attending this webinar, you'll see a chat box on your right-hand side. What I'd like you to do is go in there and type in a question that you would like to have programmed into Alexa, and then what we can do is we'll take maybe one or two, and then we'll actually program it on the spot into Alexa, and we'll actually test it out.
Perfect. I'm just getting it in the right spot here in the system for my end.
Okay.
So we can do that easily.
Great. So just give us a second here. Looks like we've got a couple of them coming in.
Okay.
Okay. I'll pick one out from the selection here. One of our attendees is asking us if we can ask Alexa to report on declined grants.
Sure. Okay, so what I've done, I've already gone into the Alexa integration area within the platform, and it's as easy as just going to global settings under the integration tab. And I'm going to create a new one, so I'm already on that right screen. So as I mentioned before in a little bit of a demonstration, we need to access a keyword, a key name. So we're going to call that just as declined grants. That's what we're going to look for, so that's easy enough to put in a keyword. And then I'm going to type in something here in the template so we can get a response back and where to see how Alexa can say this back. So if you just bear with my typing here, I'll just put in sentence. And perfect. Sorry guys. And one more. And then I'm going to click save. And it's in. It's part of my, if I go to my list of keywords here in the system, I can see that I've added a new key name with the following template of how I want Alexa to read back to me.
So now this is programmed in there. How long does it take to sync?
Well, there is no syncing. It's right away. As soon as I click save.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we can ask it. I'll do the same kind of thing, except we'll use our question that we put in here. So I'm going to say, Alexa, ask SmartSimple, please tell me declined grants.
Hello, there are currently 7 grants in the decline status.
There we go.
That's really cool.
So, it's pretty neat, and it's like I said, it's real time. As soon as you enter your key names in and type in your template of the response, you're good to go. And I mean, any of these things can be as complicated as you want. It could be as easy as the one that we did here today. I can have, I can refer to reports that I've created. I can use the Alexa interface to pass criteria through in the form of maybe a date range or a name. I can say, run this report for Eric, and then it will, return the results I need and then speak it back to me.
Cool, cool. Okay, great. Actually, you know what? I think for the most part, I mean, that's what the demo looks like. I don't know if there's any more that we really need to show, but what I want to do, I did want to have just comment real quickly on what the next stage is in the development of this whole integration, because this is really the first act of a couple acts play, as it were, in terms of development of this integration. So right now, as Eric mentioned, Alexa can report on any piece of data within the SmartSimple system.
That's right.
But it's at this point, it's restricted to just that, which is the reporting side of things. Now, the next iteration, which is the really exciting part of this integration, is what we're working on is, apart from just the reporting, we want to make Alexa, give Alexa the ability to actually complete actions on our behalf.
That's right. Yep.
So, imagine this scenario. Rather than Alexa simply having the ability to report the number of applications that came in from, say, Chicago last month, you'll actually be able to command Alexa to change the status of all Chicago applications from pending to approved. So think about what that means for your grants manager, your program managers, your CSR staff, or whatever the case may be. Any one of these folks are very busy people. We know that just because our clients are these folks. And we know that at any given moment, they're working on 5 or 6 different things at a time at best.
Right.
And something trivial like changing the status of an application from pending to approved, it's while it doesn't take long, it can be an interruption in whatever major task or project that anybody might be working on. So what if you had a tool like Alexa where you could stay focused on your project, but ask Alexa to go ahead and make that change for you? Yeah. So I think that's one of the neat things about the technology, is that it's really going to change the way people are going to work going forward. And I myself am really excited about when we're going to have the ability to actually have Alexa complete actions, because I can think of a whole heck of a lot of things that I can ask Alexa to do for me.
No, for sure. Even myself, it's so nice. It takes a lot of the effort away. And I really see it as becoming an integral part of our accessibility. Especially anyone with a disability. It's a great way of interacting with the system, especially a web platform. If you have to read through narrative or stuff like that, it's a great way to interact and be able to get things done without having to use a mouse and keyboard. So I think it's a great step forward in technology front.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think that's the majority of the stuff that we wanted to show. I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up here. Yeah. But I would like to open up the floor for questions, because we have seen a bunch of questions pop up in the chat box. If you do have some additional questions, feel free to put them in the chat box right now. We'll take up as many as we can. We've got a couple of minutes left, so we're glad to field a bunch of questions. And of course, this is a whole new technology, so I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions about it. So, okay, let's see. We've got a couple already? Okay. Yeah. So the first question, how does Alexa handle permissions? So I guess in the context of this question, what the person's asking is, if there is a piece of sensitive data or information that needs to be permissioned based off a person's role, how do you make sure that information doesn't get into somebody that is not supposed to be getting that information? Because all they can really do is come and ask Alexa, right? Yeah. So how do you set that up so that information is restricted depending on the person's role?
That's a really good question. It's a really important question given security and given these devices, since you can just talk to it. How do you authenticate? Well, this device itself, like even for today's presentation, is actually tied to me, tied to my account in SmartSimple. So it's going to take on all the properties that my user account has. So any roles that I'm in, any permissions that I have, it's going to be able to return those answers to me. If I try to do something through the Alexa device or ask a question that I don't have access to, it's going to prevent me from doing so. So we've already tied in the Alexa into, from a roles and security point of view, using our own platform. And it's just even going to get better beyond this, because I know being partners of Amazon and having conversations with them, They're already working on making their devices location aware, so we can have maybe a boardroom device versus an office device that's maybe my CEO office or something like that versus an Alexa that's sitting at like the front reception area.
That's excellent. Yeah. Great. Okay, we've got a couple other questions here. Where can I find the Alexa integration in SmartSimple?
Perfect. So where it was today, it's as long, again, this is setting up the questions as administrative function. So you just go into your main menu in the top right-hand corner, the little grid, and then from there you go to your global settings under the configuration menu, and then you just choose the integration tab. And about halfway down the page, you'll see a link for Alexa integration. And then from there, it'll list any configured questions that you may have. And you just click the plus sign, and you kind of do exactly what I did. You program a key name, and then in the next field down, the template field, you can have Alexa say whatever you want. But the benefit of that is that we can call and use the full power of the SmartSimple platform. So I can use variables, I can reference different things within the system, run reports, return all these queries. So it's quite powerful.
So I guess the neat thing is that I guess whichever SmartSimple user has access to the global settings, anybody can go and access the Alexa integration itself and do work towards the integration and adding their own utterances.
And once the questions are programmed, then anyone can ask the questions. It's just that's the person who's going to set up.
Right. They don't necessarily have to go through us in order to do all that stuff.
Not at all. Yeah, that's the intention. So
right.
It's all your own. You set it up yourself. You configure it to work with your copy of SmartSimple, and that's it.
That's fabulous. We have a question here about languages. So specifically, this particular question was about the French language, but I guess in general we can speak to languages in general. What languages does Alexa support, or at least the integration?
As far as we are concerned at SmartSimple, it doesn't matter. We, as you guys will be well aware, SmartSimple is language neutral. So as long as you have, we have translations for whatever language is required. It's just a matter of your Alexa device being set up properly for the language that you want it to recognize. So as long as the Amazon device, in this case the Echo Dot, supports that language, then we're good on our side. But in this case, you then have to make sure your questions and all your stuff are programmed into the appropriate language that you want people to interact with.
Right. And then I guess, does the, and again, this is probably more of an Amazon question than SmartSimple because it's related to the device, but does the Echo Dot learn how you speak, your tone of voice, your intonation, the sound of your voice? I'm only asking that because in case there are folks that have, heavier accents and things like that, would it be easier to understand if they've sort of built up a body of your language that you've shared over the time?
Sure, and it's important to note, and you can, Mike, or one of the founders, is always, and it's true that this device itself is really just a terminal. It's, to be honest, guys, this Alexa Dot is really just a microphone and speaker. All the processing is happening up in the cloud on the servers that handle the speech recognition and all that piece. So it's just a conduit. So really, this is the UI for the AI, so to speak. So it's just the interface in order to get to that back end technology, much like, for the person, right? Our brains are doing all the work, even though our arms and our hands, especially me, I move my arms a lot, doing all the talking, but that's just interpreting the external environment, and then our brain is actually doing the work. So the same is true for the device, in which it's kind of taking all that, the sound and all the questions we're asking, and through the internet, it's going back and processing that and determining. As more and more people adopt the technology and they build a bigger database in terms of the content, then it's only going to get better from where it is today.
Okay, great. Another question here. Does Alexa serve as a chatbot, or can it serve as a chatbot for customer support-based questions?
Yes, for sure. We've already, you can kind of already do it with us. We've linked, when we go fully live with this, we're actually linking our wiki into our electrical skill set. So you can actually query our wiki through the Echo. And that would be true for your own personal use as well. If you want to program questions, if you want to provide your own staff or your constituents serve as a support, then whatever questions you can imagine could be available.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, I think we've got one more. Well, it's more of a two-part question, but
Sure.
it's kind of like the $1,000,000 question that actually no one's asked, but I'm going to ask for everyone
Sure.
else. But how much does this all cost?
Actually, it's well, other than your device, it doesn't cost anything. So we built our Alexa integration into our base platform. So as long as you have a valid user license, you're free to use it. When we launch our skill set into the stores, they'll be available for you to access from there through Google Play or Apple Store. And the devices themselves, I think in this case, the dock is probably the most affordable model. It's about $50 retail, I think. I'm not too sure. I think they vary depending on the different units you get the hardware. But yeah, I mean that's really about it.
Cool, cool. And now, if someone, so if one of our clients wanted to get started with at least playing around with the technology, what can they do? Who should they reach out to get started with this?
Yeah, so it's if you want to tinker around yourself, as we said, it's under the global settings. It's already there. It's actually been there for a few upgrades now. We finally taken it out of the beta and putting it into the live. But you can reach out to myself or through to Gary or the account manager to find out more information on how you can take advantage of the Alexa integration, and we'd be more than happy to walk you through. And I like that this is so new. You know, rather than taking a support type approach to this, I'd rather actually have you contact me or my team, and then we can kind of walk with you, work with you, and get some ideas on how you plan to use it, or kind of ideas that you thought of, maybe how could you use it. And we'd really like to work with you to, you know, just make it a better product all around.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Great. Well, I think that's all the time we have now for questions. I think that's all we have anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
As I said, this was really exciting for us, and
Yeah, it was.
actually this whole webinar format is entirely new and different for us.
Yeah.
So hopefully it worked for you as it did for us. And this recording is going to be shared out with everybody, so you'll have that with you. And as Eric mentioned, if you do have any questions about the integration itself, you can always reach out to Eric, of course, as he mentioned. You can always reach out to me as well, and we can make sure that we get you the right information that you're looking for. So
That's right. And I think maybe we should, as a final goodbye, we should thank our other co-host with us today, Alexa. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Perfect.
okay, thanks everybody. Take care.
Have a good day.